Alright, hello, silly little people in my computer. Welcome to Switch 2 discussion. This is going to be the jankiest, crustiest discussion you've ever seen. As you can see, we have 2 furries, 2 anime girls, and Loss. So, we're doing great so far. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Kit the Goddess. This is my PNG tuber for Persona Stormy. And these are my buddies. Does everyone want to go around and introduce themselves from right to left?
Wait, right to left? Oh, that's me. Hi, I'm Josie. Hello, hi.
Hi, Josie.
Hi, I'm Matarasu, or Hazel. Call me Hazel and I'll blow you up.
I'm Olive, Olive Oil Arts. This is my Sona Raspberry, but please just call me Olive.
I'm Loss.
Thanks, Rollins. Thanks, Loss. Sorry. I didn't mean to dead name you there, Loss.
No,
sorry,
shut up. Okay, shut up. I'm Rollins. I also have a channel I have not used in a while. The Pink Marlin guy. I'll maybe use it soon. So maybe we'll see.
You used that. You made that one owl. A few Owl House and Amphibia edits that blew up. That's about it. But
Yeah, they're all terrible.
The biggest claim to fame, I would say, on my channel right now, I've got 2 edits and then 2 failed Let's Play videos on my channel, Tangled Lion, which is just like, eh. But
I made
tell
all
yourself
the
you
Very
videos
briefly a
in
micro
iMovie.
celebrity. That was fun.
oh yeah, because you were in FNAF IRL.
The comments loved me.
The comments did
Yeah,
love you. All right.
I,
Let's try and get back on topic, though. We've already wasted 2 minutes. Well, not wasted, because
Yeah, we've already gotten a little bit lost.
Okay, haha.
Play
So,
Saga.
this discussion is here. We are recording this the day after the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. We've had about 36 hours to process everything. We're just gonna go full force, go through our thoughts on the Direct, and the stuff that was announced afterward, like, unfortunately, the price of games and things. But aside from that, I think a good place to start is, like, we're gonna try and go for like somewhere 30 minutes to an hour, depends on how long we how much stuff we have to talk about, that sort of thing. But anyway, I think a good place to start is what was everybody's favorite announcement during the Direct yesterday. Anybody can start off. No preference.
Deltarune.
So, are we just talking about the Direct yesterday, or are we talking about the one last week as well?
This one's focused on like Switch 2 stuff, so just announcements from the Switch 2 Direct.
Deltarune.
Yeah,
Deltarune.
same. I'm in the same boat with Deltarune. Deltarune was like...
I'm a big Deltarune fan. I'm also, just because I played some Donkey Kong Country as a kid, very excited to see a 3D Donkey Kong game.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the 2
great.
highlights for me. I will probably also pick, like, though I'm not as excited, I'll probably pick up Metroid Prime 4, just because it looks cool, and it'll be an excuse to get into the Prime series of Metroids, so...
That does look really good, yeah.
And I'm gonna play them out of order, just to piss off very specific types of people.
Oh, same. No, I've only played Prime 1. I'm probably not going to play Prime 2 and 3 before 4 comes out, so unless they do a remaster. So
I think they did for the Switch, but I think I'm gonna play 4 and then play the rest.
Yeah. No, they only remastered
Here's
the first one,
a
not
thought.
2 and 3.
getting into maybe not what most excited me, but something that is exciting, the GameCube Switch Online subscription. What if they put Prime 2... Oh wait, Prime 3 was on the Wii. Dang it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
And
My argument invalid.
2 wasn't... Prime 2 also... neither of the Prime games were in that, like, GameCube NSO lineup they showed.
But
So,
do you know what was? Do you know what was in that lineup?
Path of
Fire
Radiance.
Emblem, Path of Radiance. That's right. We no longer have to pay $500 to play Path of Radiance. We now have to pay $450 and a subscription fee.
I wonder who's the biggest Fire Emblem fan in the chat right now.
Hazel.
I really
Hazel.
wonder. I wonder.
I think of all the announcements, though, I'll be honest. I'm having trouble figuring out what most was for me. definitely excited about the Kirby and Forgotten Lands, not sequel, the DLC, and also the Age of Calamity sequel, even if I've not played Age of Calamity. It looks cool. If they're going to do it in an alt continuity this time, maybe they should make that clear beforehand.
Yeah, that would be preferable. They did say, like, in the in some of the external material, the official description said canonical prequel. So I'm assuming it's main timeline. They're not doing some time travel bullshit again.
They said the same thing about Age of Calamity.
Did they, or did people just assume that?
The implications I was getting from the trailer of Age of... What did they
Age
call
of
it?
Imprisonment.
What I was getting from the trailer of Age of Imprisonment was that now that we have played the Link segments in the present, this is our opportunity to play the Zelda segments in the past, which I am very, very excited for. I really wanted playable Zelda whenever they first released the game. That was actually a prediction of mine, which was I thought that was why they cut her hair. Like, on the one hand, beautiful design choice. On the other, it makes it so that it doesn't clip into her model when we're able to play as her. So that
a lot of people thought that, yeah. That was a very reasonable assumption.
Age of Imprisonment does look very, very good. I have not played Age of Calamity. I watched the 3-hour cutscene movie and loved every minute of it. I'm hoping I can do the same for Age of Imprisonment. The announcement that I was the most excited about, aside from our 5 seconds of Silksong, was Kirby Air Ride. For anyone that watched the video, I did cry. I needed to take a minute. It's been 20 years since Kirby Air Ride came out. I was 2 years old. And now that Air Riders has been confirmed, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I'm a huge Kirby fan. People in my friend group know that I have legally adopted Kirby. I am his mother. I signed the papers. I'm really proud of him. I'm really excited.
Air Riders looks fantastic. Like, the fact that they got Sakurai back on it, too, is really cool. Like, that's the first, Kirby game he's worked on in 20 years, too. Because the last Kirby game he worked on was the original Air Ride, so...
20 years ago.
Yeah, crazy. One that weirdly got, I wouldn't say excited, but intrigued, and it's weird because, I've been meaning to play Elden Ring, but I haven't played many, Souls types games, was, the Dust Bloods, which basically...
Oh,
yeah, that looks really fun.
Yes.
Here's the thing, I've never been super interested in FromSoft games, but the Dusk Bloods, I might play that. That looks good.
The vibes, I think it was just the vibes of it felt like... there was something about it that just clicked for me, I guess, in terms of the vibes.
Thank you, FromSoft, for finally getting Bloodborne 2. I really appreciate it.
That was literally...
It being a console exclusive really does make it Bloodborne 2. Thank you, FromSoft. Thank you.
That literally was that was my thought. Was my first thought was Castlevania, but then we saw FromSoft, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Bloodborne, and I'm like, how the fuck did they get the IP rights from Sony?
Honestly,
they didn't. It's royalty-free Bloodborne.
Honestly,
it does look fantastic.
We have Bloodborne at home.
What do you want to bet? There's just gonna be a random squid somewhere that's just a reference to Bloodborne, but isn't
Oh, my mic is not.
Because I know one of the endings. I know one of the endings. There's something that involves a squid.
You should play Bloodborne. You should just play Bloodborne and find out. That being said, when I was watching the Dusk Bloods trailer, very big Nier Automata jump scare. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But it looks fantastic, and it's a FromSoft game. FromSoft hasn't made a bad game since Sekiro. I'm screwing with you. I love Sekiro to death. It's like my favorite gameplay game of all time. Please don't crucify me.
I've seen that joke format so much over these past couple hours where people are talking about Dust Bloods, and then someone goes, they haven't made a bad game since insert game here, and then a joke of please don't kill me, or the joke of oh, I'm just turning my phone on vibrate thing.
So slightly off topic, but fun fact, when I was in college myself, before I dropped out, I had a friend who, before Sekiro was announced, was looking at all of the teasers leading up to it, and was like, Oh yeah, everyone thinks it's going to be a samurai game, but I know it's Bloodborne 2 because blah 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 blah. And then I heard about Sekiro getting announced, and I wasn't in contact with that friend at the time, but I thought it was very funny.
That is really funny, yeah. All
so
right.
I would like to
yeah.
I would like to enlighten the chat real quick before we move on. I am playing Bed Wars at the moment.
I noticed that.
What do you mean you noticed
you
it?
are. I
just booted the game up.
I was hovering over the chat thing, and literally it just said that you were playing Minecraft. So like I just saw it.
All right. Let's try to stay on topic, please. Okay.
Let's keep ourselves from getting lost.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of want to circle back to Deltarune because like I did not expect Deltarune to be in this direct. Like we knew that chapters 3 and 4 were coming soon. We knew that. I never in my life thought that Toby Fox would get a fucking launch title on the Switch 2. That's insane to me. And what if for whatever reason my Switch 2 pre-order falls through and I don't get one day one, I will be there day one for Deltarune, because that's a simultaneous launch. I'm glad it's not like a Spectre of Torment situation, where it comes out first on the new console and comes out on everything else later. I don't think Toby Fox would ever have let them do that, but...
No, yeah.
He absolutely would not. Toby Fox got his start in ROM hacking.
Yeah,
He's gonna make it a simultaneous release.
No, yeah, I'm very excited. That might be something that actually makes me use my YouTube channel again. I just love Deltarune a lot. I never got the chance to play Undertale when it got big, but I was like very much in the fandom. And then like Deltarune, like I was there like from day one. I was like at like right when he just sort of shadow dropped chapter 1 during Halloween.
Yeah.
So fun fact. I've just played a little bit of Chapter 1, and I was like, I will play this later, because I think this is, like, a full game. And then I never got back into it, even though I know it's so good, and I know I need to.
Well, you know it's the perfect time now, love. On its way. Because here's the thing, you can play Chapters 1 and 2 on the Switch version, and apparently you can import your save from the Switch version to the Switch 2 version. So, assuming I get the Switch 2 version, you can just play my Switch 2 version, and then transfer your save in.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
Also, another incredible thing during the Direct, to circle in... Oh, sorry. Am I preemptively ending the Deltarune discussion?
Yeah, there was a couple more things I wanted to say on Deltarune, but now I can't remember what they are. Shit.
Like the fact that Chapter 4 looks like it's going to be in the church.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was about to say, I had a friend who predicted, Nanowave on YouTube, they predicted, like, hey... I think Chapter 4 is going to be in a church, and then the trailer dropped from like, oh, they're going to...
No, yeah, and then there and also everyone who is like, the TV's not going to be a character, TV head's not going to be a thing.
The only thing they showed from Chapter 3 being like that. Well, not the only thing, but like the main thing.
Also, I gotta say, I love the mobster outfits they had in like...
those were so good. There. Susie was fucking slaying. Oh my god. Okay, I remember the other thing I wanted to say now, though. I think it's incredibly poetic. I said this in the chat the other day. It's so poetic that at least Olive Rollins and I have been friends since our freshman year of college. We started college the month Deltarune Chapter 2 came out, and we are going to be graduating college the month Chapters 3 and 4 come out. That is so poetic.
You guys are old.
Yeah.
We're old.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Okay, youngest person in the chat.
For context, chat, I am a year younger than them.
I am probably the oldest person in the chat.
You
like,
definitely are,
3 years older.
I still love you, hun.
Wow.
I think it goes Amaterasu, then Lost, then me, then Maddie, then Jizzy.
Yeah, I think that's right. We don't want to dead name you, Lost.
Yeah.
This is... I've brought this bit upon myself.
Okay. Anyway, Josie, what were you going to move the discussion to?
Freaking game share. Like, holy heck.
Yes! Download Play is back, bitches!
That's honestly really good.
I wonder what the copy protection is like.
I mean, I don't think you can pirate a whole copy of a game with download play. I think that the entire
Not in its current state.
No. The entire thing with download play is that, like, it only shares the essential parts of the game to run in multiplayer. I think that's going to be what it is for what is it? Game share.
They could have just called it Switch 2 download play, honestly.
Yeah, most people remember what download play is.
Never underestimate the human spirit to commit piracy, I guess, with that. I'm sure someone will try, but who knows. I gotta say...
I'm going to remain quiet.
Speaking of, like, game share stuff, that's just making me think about how they basically made Nintendo Discord.
Yeah, no, that's so funny.
I'm still not over that.
I think you mean Xbox Live.
No, Hazel,
I
here's
was
the thing.
talking to Maddie that they invented Xbox Live. I was talking about it on stream.
Okay, but here's the thing. So, Nintendo's chat features on the Switch 2 are not only the exact same as the ones on the PS5, they are in some areas better. We are entering an era in which Nintendo has the best voice chat, voice chat and communication systems on their console. That's crazy.
And it's still gonna be mid.
Yeah.
I'm excited, honestly, for the camera compatibility. Like, they showed some mini games that use it. I cannot wait
to
play my
reinvented the Kinect.
Yeah, literally. Welcome back, Xbox Kinect.
Okay. I'm
really
just
back in the 2000s. We got a like Kinect announcement coming up and a recession coming up. So, like,
recession's currently happening, bro. We are in it.
Speaking of recessions, do we want to address the elephant in the room?
What, the price?
Yeah.
Wowee
$450.
So,
how are we feeling?
Okay, the price of the console I don't super mind. I was expecting $500. $450 actually seems pretty reasonable for what you're getting. The price of the individual games is what makes me pause.
Yeah, so I agree with the console price. There's a lot of misinformation on this front, so let me kind of lay down what I've managed to gather. Console itself, $450. On Nintendo's website, Mario Kart and Donkey Kong are the only two games with explicit prices. Mario Kart is listed as $80. Donkey Kong is listed as $70. But if you look in other countries, every other region that has listed game prices, the US is the only one that is not listed on storefront pages yet, so we'll have to wait until pre-orders go live to see if this is the case. But other stores in other countries have listed that Mario Kart digitally is $70, but physically is $80. And then Donkey Kong digitally is $60, physically is $70. So it seems like we are entering kind of an era where the digital games are $10 cheaper than the physical. So where the digital one is the quote-unquote full price, and then physical is always a $10 extra charge. Which...
I don't understand why Mario Kart costs more than Donkey Kong.
Because I think I don't understand. Yeah, the barrier between the two prices is weird, but I expected Nintendo to move to $70 games, so $70 for Mario Kart makes sense. Because that's what Nintendo and that's what Sony and Microsoft are already doing. But I think the more that I look at it, there's absolutely no way that the physical price increase was not related to the tariffs that are currently happening.
I wouldn't exactly say that yet. I definitely see that they would probably affect it, but I think I'm very much of the opinion that I'm waiting to get more information and for it to actually come out type stuff, because these could change, but probably not. I do think it is kind of ridiculous that you basically are charged $10 extra for a physical copy, even though in most game consoles these days, the physical copy is basically just a download key itself.
Yeah, that okay. I should also clarify. A lot of people have been assuming that's the case for the Switch 2 because there's this screenshot that's been circulating from Nintendo's support website talking about game key cards. That is not entirely true. Game key cards are a thing, but it's only like it was just a page on Nintendo's support website for specific types of games. This is like when you would put like on the Switch 1 when you would put third-party games like Mortal Kombat in your Switch, and they couldn't fit the entire game on the cartridge, so they had to have an additional download. This is not every game on the Switch doesn't actually physically exist on the cartridge and you have to download it. That's not what this is.
So, in terms of going back to the pricing issue a little bit, and I would like to point out that both Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition and Baldur's Gate 3 are only $60. So keep that in mind when you're spending $80 for Mario Kart, please.
Yeah, no, like
40.
I think here's the thing, like I mentioned this earlier before we started recording. We're entering an era where it's the 90s of video game prices again. Like if you look back at like an old like Toys R Us catalog from the 90s with Super Nintendo games, you'll see Super Nintendo games varied in price wildly, and like based on like the technology in the cartridge. And some of them, like I remember one that really stood out to me was at launch, Donkey Kong Country, the original, was like $120 in 90s money. Today, I don't have like an inflation calculator up or anything, but I'm pretty sure like in today's money, that's somewhere around like $180. That's almost $200 for Donkey Kong alone. So that is not to say that this price increase is not bad and should not be considered, but I think it's also just helps to put into perspective like the prices of the wider games industry are the games as a whole are significantly more affordable than have been significantly more affordable for the last 20 years than they ever were before that, even with these price increases.
Yeah.
It's still frustrating.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think Nintendo is jumping the gun, and this is a lot of me talking, but I have crackpot theories about why this price increase was. Because here's the thing. I don't think Nintendo would be pricing these physical games $10 more unless some external force or something externally forced their hand. And I think that's the manufacturing costs and the tariffs. Because the Switch 2 carts are identical to the Switch 1 carts in terms of like what we know for manufacturing. And not only that, but when you look at like Nintendo's policy regarding like pricing for physical and digital games on the Switch 1, it's the exact opposite. Nintendo actually forced other companies to, if they made a physical release of a game, it had to cost the exact same as the digital version. They could not upcharge unless there was like some additional content or like an art book or something that was only in the physical release. So I don't think that I don't see any way or any reason Nintendo would have 180'd on this unless something forced their hand.
I'm in terms of that like sort of theory, I'm very much like wait and see, because I'm not really the type to ever be surprised of any company just randomly increasing prices. Like,
yeah, it's just it's out of character for Nintendo, in my opinion.
It is, but like I wouldn't be utterly shocked if that turned out to be the case, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it was something else. I think like ultimately my opinion on it is like there are going to be people that spend the $80. Hopefully one of your friends does, so you can do the download play if you get the console. But if you're going to get the console, just maybe wait a bit if you don't want to pay this much for games, or get, Deltarune or some of the cheaper games.
Or you could get the Mario Kart bundle, because like that's a significant discount, because that comes with a digital copy of Mario Kart, and it's only $50 more than the console itself. It's $500. So get the Mario Kart bundle if you can. Like, you're saving almost half the price of the game.
Yeah, if you really want Mario Kart with your Switch. If you don't, then just don't buy it, and then
if you're jonesing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think like one other small thing, I'm so sorry I'm stuck on this, but one other thing contributing to this theory for me, the Switch 2 in Japan is $100 cheaper than it is in the US. They specifically have two versions. They have the $100 cheaper version, which is region locked to Japan, and they have a region-free version, which is the same as every other region. So they explicitly priced it that way, region locked it to prevent people from outside of Japan from importing it and playing all their games on that way just to get the console for cheaper. So that's all right. That's my last thing about my crackpot theory. Sorry. Well, do we still have price things to say, or?
I am glad that if they are offering, if you have the NSO expansion pack, they are offering free upgrades for the Nintendo Switch 2 versions of games.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, the free upgrades are very, very nice.
Is that going to be for all NS2 versions, though, is the question?
So as far as we know, the only two that are releasing at launch are Zelda. From what I understand, the language they've used has indicated they plan to do more on the expansion pack eventually. We don't know if it's all of them.
That's fair.
I would assume,
Here's my
assume most first-party Nintendo games, but it could just be Zelda. That's honestly the more likely thing.
Well, it was shown to be with Zelda. It was shown to be with Kirby Forgotten. I forget the name of the game. I never played.
Forgotten Land.
Forgotten Land. That's right. I'm just excited that Nintendo's throwing us a bone for once. Do you want? What's our next topic? Because I wanted to talk about the specs.
Hazel wanted to say, or not? Sorry, Hazel. Josie wanted to say something.
I was just gonna say personally, like, I don't know so much about, like, I understand Nintendo Switch 2 editions are only going to be for ones that get, like, content upgrades, but at the same time, I just kind of feel like, personally, the hardware upgrades should kind of just come with it, and, like, maybe just go, hey, you can upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2 version to get exclusive features.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, and like that's the weird thing is, like, what's the division? Like I don't understand why these. Well, actually, no, I do. I understand why these games specifically got the extra content and the upcharges, because they're two of the most popular games on the Switch 1. But but yeah, like there's a pretty sizable list. I think of like 12 or 15 games from the Nintendo first party that are getting just free software patches with support. Some of them are getting mouse support, and then most of them are just getting frame rate and resolution cap boosts. Like,
I also hope that ZA and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond get things that are like benefits other than graphics and performance to entice the Nintendo Switch 2 version.
We already do. We already know some of the benefits with Prime 4. Mouse mode, which is very fun.
Yeah.
120 FPS in handheld mode.
We'll say,
my God.
Excited.
With those two in specific, Josie, I personally think it's going to be sort of like a Breath of the Wild situation where they're kind of the launch titles, but also on the previous console as well. So that just so that way they get the most bang out of buck for them, I guess.
Yeah. I should also clarify, the only two upgrade pack games that are going to be available at launch are the two Zelda games. I believe Mario Party's in July. That's when that upgrade pack is coming out. Kirby's in August. And then Legend ZA and Metroid Prime are day and date with the game releases.
No, yeah. I will say, despite the price of stuff, I hate that part of my brain wants to get the Mario Kart, so I might just see if I can get the bundle purely because of like the Airship Fortress map returning.
Oh, please, yes, God. Toad's Factory is back. They had the music in the trailer, and I flipped the fuck out. Olive can testify to this. Like
24-player Baby Park.
24-player
My favorite
Baby Park.
part about watching people react to the direct is like just the random 5 seconds of Silksong.
Yeah.
And everyone being like, wait, what? Hold on. What?
The gall they had to throw that in the montage of all things. Like,
honestly, they could have done a full thing like showing off Silksong, especially because during the whole indie studios putting their or other studios putting their games on the Switch 2 and showing how they'll bring support. Did anyone else get that ominous, like, 30 seconds to a minute of just black screen and, like, static?
No.
What?
I did not, but that
I didn't
sounds
see that.
funny.
I
didn't
Olive
catch
and I
it
had the
live
stream
because I was in
freeze,
class.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
no,
that was specifically with that was a YouTube problem, not a Nintendo stream problem, because the all the other foreign country, like the UK stream, the JP stream, and even Nintendo's Twitch stream of the Direct did not have either the audio desync that was present in the YouTube stream, or nor the big thing that happened during the Gungeon 2 section of the Direct.
Nah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find where it was, but like when they had these studios saying it, there was a studio that introduced themselves, but when they said the name of the game that they'd be bringing to the Switch 2, like the audio just cut out, and then there was a black screen that just had this ominous text that said "Best Left Forgotten" on it. I'm trying to figure out where that was.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Let me see.
For context, she's making a joke about Forbidden Wizard
It was
game.
just after. It was just
Lost
after Split Fiction.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I gotta say, it was so
understand.
funny to have the Deltarune followed up by, like, Borderlands by, like, the most, like, cheesy uncle energy dude I have ever seen. Just being like, Borderlands 4, we're not gonna talk about the movie. Bye.
All right. Well, I think we've gone half an hour already. We haven't even talked about the first party games. So do we want to start moving into some of those?
Real quick.
Okay.
Real quick, trust me, guys. They're gonna release an NS2 version of Fire Emblem Three Houses. They're gonna finish Crimson Flower, guys. Trust me. They're gonna finish that route.
You wouldn't know what
Hazel,
I would love.
you're coping so hard, but for God, I hope
They're
you're
gonna
right.
finish the route, guys.
God, I hope
They're
you're
gonna
right.
give me 5 more
You
chapters.
wouldn't know what I would love, which is even harder cope, if they just brought back Fossil Fighters for no reason.
That would
Just
be really funny.
fucking
I feel like if they did that, it would be a Nintendo Switch 1 game for no reason.
You know what? I would take it.
Going to be honest, personally, part of the reason I've not steered toward some of the games announced, a lot of the stuff announced at this Direct just kind of wasn't for me. I'm not a big racing fan, like, in terms of first party. I'm not a big racing fan, so that kind of makes me less interested in Mario Kart and Kirby Air Riders. And Donkey Kong Bonanza, technically very impressive. All those destructible environments. I don't give a shit about Donkey Kong. I'm sorry.
See, here's the thing. I didn't give a shit about Donkey Kong until I saw how expressive his new design was. And also the hot monkey in the trailer helped.
Yeah,
You
are the most predictable person I have ever met in my life. I knew, the second I saw that character, I knew you would make a comment about her. Oh
She
my
had
god.
like 2 seconds of screen time, and I almost heard Maddie's eyes raise. I'm more of a Donkey Kong girl myself.
My reaction in the reaction video was literally, I am not about to simp for an ape. Like,
Join the
think you
club.
are. I think there's going to be a portion of the internet that joins you in that activity.
I'm not gonna say the word because YouTube will kill me, but there's already, you know what? There's already some of
We
that.
can say
Artists
the
are
word
very
kitty.
quick. Artists are very quick. I know.
Especially
so-
talented artists. That's what you were going to say.
I'm very excited about that just because, like, you know, I've been meaning to get back into 3D platformers since I really enjoyed them, and like, I loved, like, in recent years there wasn't like really much of like Nintendo first party that had like 3D platformers that caught my attention. So just seeing this and seeing like Donkey Kong, because I played a lot of Donkey Kong Country Returns as a kid, was just like, oh, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna have so much
it's
fun
like,
with this.
and like everybody, myself included, kept predicting 3D Mario. They're gonna show a 3D Mario. This is the 3D Mario. It's just Donkey Kong, not Mario. And like I think something that pretty much everybody who's like gotten hands on with it, like I've listened to some stuff from Good Vibes Gaming, the last couple days since that came out, they are like 99% sure it's the Mario Odyssey devs, and that completely tracks. Like that absolutely
looks
tracks.
like the same art style. It looks like the same kind of environments. I would be shocked if it was not the
yeah,
Odyssey
and
devs.
Yoshiaki Koizumi, the Mario Odyssey director, was there like overseeing playtests of that game at like a private event. So
Also, don't let certain Donkey Kong fans hear you call a Donkey Kong game a Mario game. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm well aware, but like this, like I'm just saying, like this is it's filling the place of a Mario game. It's like this is the big flagship platformer close to the game's launch.
funny thing is that like it used to be like the other way around, where Donkey Kong was the more popular one.
Yeah,
because of the arcade game stuff and stuff like that, and then Mario overtook him. And then there was no like Donkey Kong stuff till Donkey Kong Returns and stuff like that.
I really like
weird to think
what were you gonna say, Josie?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know you said you really like the more expressive design. It's uncanny to me. I'm sorry. This is not the Donkey Kong I saw in Mario parties.
I don't know. It's closer. It's closer to his old arcade design, and I really like that. I
just like it because he has overalls.
Although Rareware did provide an explanation for why he looked different in the country games as opposed to in the arcade games, which was he's a different guy. The Donkey Kong in the arcade games is Cranky Kong.
Cranky Kong. Yeah.
I like that. No, I really like. I understand why it's like for a lot of people it's gonna be controversial. This new like Donkey Kong design. I personally love it. I love it, honestly.
I'm a Sonic fan. I've played these games before. Okay, like I've seen this happen multiple times. There was one time, the only time I would say complaints of the design were justified was when we literally bullied a studio into changing it for the movie. That's like.
Are you saying even Sonic Boom was a justified design?
No, I'm saying the only time I like fully agreed with how angry people got over a design thing was that. Sonic Boom.
I like the Sonic Boom designs. I will die on this hill.
No, the Sonic Boom designs were fine mostly.
Here's the thing. People just don't like it when things they're used to suddenly become new or different. And there's always an adjustment period. And there's always people who get weirdly unreasonably mad over some things. And sometimes, it's just like, pick your battles, alright? Like...
Oh yeah, to be clear, I'm not mad about the Donkey Kong design. Like I said, I don't care about Donkey Kong. I'm just like, this new design doesn't do it for me, you know?
I will say, definitely, it's growing on me, but I definitely agree that it didn't have, like, the best introduction, because, like, the first time we saw it, he was just kind of in the background of the Mario Kart trailer, and he just looked so cursed.
He looks much better in Bonanza than he does in Mario Kart. I'll definitely say that. Like, I think the fur texture really does wonders for the new design.
Speaking of Mario Kart, I love that they were just like, fuck it, you can play as every random ass enemy ever now.
The cow from Moo Moo Meadows! We love the cow from Moo Moo Meadows!
Let's bring Moo Moo Meadows back again, just so you can play Moo Moo and Moo Moo Meadows.
I'm just saying, I'm not a fan of racing games, but I am a fan of the clothing options.
Oh, the costumes are so cool. The drip, they all have so much drip now. I love it.
No, yeah.
So, I am a hater. There were not enough JRPGs. I'm joking, obviously. We got Bravely Default, we got 7 Rebirth. Not Rebirth, Remake on Switch 2, which is crazy.
I'm sure Rebirth will follow suit, honestly.
Also the fact that Cyberpunk is on Switch.
That game is gonna run at 60 FPS at 720p, and I do not mind.
I disagree. I think Switch, like, here's, like, people, like, who are demoing the Switch 2, like, it can run quite a lot. Like, to put some of this into perspective, like, people at the demo stations played Street Fighter 6 at 4K 60 FPS, locked frame rate, did no noticeable lag. The only downgrades were like in visual quality if you really scrutinized it, like paused the game and stared at it.
My thing is Cyberpunk in particular can chug on a PS5, which is a little.
That's fair.
concerning.
That's fair. I will say I was like impressed that watching the direct, the only time I saw any frame drops was during the cringy like game chat section, which I loved because the acting in that was so horrible, and I loved it so much.
That was soul, okay? I don't care. I don't care. It was soul. It was beautiful. It was wonderful to look
is
at.
When they're like, "Oh, you can play different games," and the guy's just playing Mario Wonder. He's like, "Oh, I'm in the sky. Oh no, I'm falling. Oh no. Oh, I'm okay."
Did you speaking of that? Speaking of that, did y'all hear like near the beginning of that section, the guy just screaming bloody murder into his Switch?
Yeah. No, my favorite thing, I think, I think I remember seeing someone just editing like the voice chat second, and it's like you can chat with your friends, and then someone just put in like the low tier God clip in the audio in the chat.
Oh my god.
Guys, I am so sorry, but I am really tired. Is it okay if you guys continue without me?
Yeah, totally, Olive. Go.
That's fine.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll just have to reposition.
Yeah, I wish you all a very good night. Sorry to make you scoot loss over.
No worries. Have a good night, Olive.
Bye.
Night.
Loss claims one more soul.
I swear, I swear, I'm gonna throw you out a window one of these days.
Here, now you get to see more of my big ass tail. So, I hope you're happy.
Also,
I hope you're happy now.
No,
see this.
No, Mads, enlarge Shion Xenosaga by 20%. That'll do.
20%, you say? Okay.
Please put 3 more copies of me on screen.
No.
No. So, you mentioned there not being enough JRPGs, and I know that was a joke, but I think that's a decent segue into a point I want to make, which is I think they're going more experimental with the lineup here. Like, there's just a lot of stuff that, like, you wouldn't expect for a Nintendo new console launch. And I think a big part of that is they're basically trying to say, hey, your Switch games are going to be better on Switch 2, and you can buy upgrades for some of them. Like, especially with them announcing the upgrades to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like Maddie said, the 2 most best-selling games on the system. I really think that they're banking on the Switch's existing backlog to continue to draw people in.
See, here's my thing. I disagree with that. I think, yes, the backlog and the backwards compatibility is a big selling point for the system. I don't disagree with that. I think they're banking on that hard. But I don't think that means they aren't trying to don't have a lot of other titles in the gutter they just haven't announced yet. Because here's the thing. All of the stuff they announced, not all of it, but most of the stuff they announced is like high power, technically impressive stuff that makes you go, holy shit, a Switch can run this? And like,
or
that's
experimental stuff.
Exactly. Or here's my thing. And here's the thing. For
Sorry, I was
Nintendo,
trying to say experimental.
No, you're
to
good.
be clear with what I was saying.
No, you're good. For first-party Nintendo, we only have, in terms of Switch 2 exclusives, not including Prime 4 and Legend ZA, which are cross-gen, we only have 2 dated games in the system's first two months.
I mean, technically,
one that's dated for summer, and then 2 that are dated for the rest of the year.
Isn't Dragon Drive Nintendo? Or
that is Nintendo. But that one's only dated for summer. So I'm betting that's an August release. But
I think the backlog will help because I'm assuming it's gonna be kind of like the first year of the first Switch, where like like for a couple months it was a bit slow on first party releases, and then towards the holiday season and then the second year it was just like so many games.
Yeah,
you know?
I think they really wanted to show people that like that's why I also think that's part of why the third party section was so long. They wanted to wow people out the gate with the technical aspects of the system. I think
That's fair.
the week after the system comes out is Summer Games Fest. I think in June we're gonna have another Nintendo Direct, like toward the middle or end of June, where it's like, hey, here we're gonna put some dates to some of these games we announced previously for the rest of the year, and here's a bunch of other games we're releasing between now and next summer. Like, I think that's when they're gonna really do a blowout with all the Nintendo stuff. I think that's when we'll finally see like a 3D Mario, maybe an Animal Crossing, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, to be clear, that the games they portrayed are weak, though they are, again, not mostly to my taste. What I'm more saying is, like Lost said, they're going more experimental with some things, and what I'm saying is, I feel like because there's already a 3D Mario on the Switch, because there's already 2 great 3D Zeldas on the Switch, they don't feel the need to have a Mario platformer as a launch title. They don't feel the need to, or even within the first, like, 6 months, you know? They don't feel the need to have a Zelda game as a big launch title to sell the system. Mario and Zelda fans can get the upgrades for their games. That's more what I was trying to say.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I think like I think we will still get a 3D Mario within around the first year, but I think it's going to be closer at this point. It's either going to be like a holiday 2025 title or like a spring 2026 title.
No, yeah. Hopefully, like with the game prices thing, hopefully it might become a trend, but hopefully it doesn't trend for too long, or at some point the prices come down. Because, you know, I guess you could say some of the prices seem a little bit indulgent, like the Catholics.
Oh my god. You gotta stop with that bit, Rollins.
I had to put in the just like the Catholics joke. Look.
Hold on, I'm getting the fucking soundboard
and
out. You
anyone
asked
named
for this.
Martin or Luther is really going to enjoy that joke.
No, I'm sorry. You have the soundboard.
Wait, would you like me to do my other bit about Sonic's feet?
No, please. No.
God. Listen, all this talk about experimental games and such, I appreciate it. You know, it's great that we're like potentially gonna get like some more different games. Awesome. If I don't get 60 FPS minimum on my Xenoblade games, I'm going to riot.
I think Nintendo is going to be targeting minimum 1080p 60 for all their first party games at this point. Like, if this can run Prime 4, at 1080p 120 and 4K 60, I think we're set. I don't see a Nintendo game going below 1080p 60.
I have a secret to share with you all.
Oh no.
I think that gamers care way too much about graphics and frame rate. Like,
I agree. At a certain point, it's just diminishing returns to me, and at a certain point, I can't tell the difference at all.
Here's my thing.
Look at this. It's 4K. It looks so much better than 1080p, and I'm like, does it though?
Here's the thing. It does. Here's the thing.
That
some
runs
people
consistently and looks good. I don't care if it's 1080p, 720, or 8K.
I disagree so hard.
Yeah,
because
it's
you
like,
can really tell when
that's
a game
because
is
you don't go
low-res.
outside enough.
Rollins, have you played Xenoblade 2 in portable mode on a Switch?
Yes, and I didn't care because I was having fun. I don't care.
Okay, but I want to have fun and also have things look good.
Same. It's like
I can watch a movie on my phone in 480p and I can still enjoy it. I would much rather be sitting in an IMAX watching it in the intended experience.
No, exactly. I agree with that. Like,
I just feel like it's less that I'm not saying that it's not important at all. I'm just saying that sometimes it feels like too many people like just make it the most important thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not the most important thing, but it is an important thing.
It is important because you can really tell the difference between something like 60 FPS and then even 100 FPS. There is a very discernible difference, and it's even more so when we're talking about resolution differences.
Yeah, and like
sorry,
frame
you
rate
don't
is
need more than 60 FPS.
No,
That's the
hun.
cap.
Like when when you look at like, here's the thing, hun, because when you look at something like a shooter or a racing game, the more frames you have, the faster you are able to react in the game. The faster you are able to notice a change and take action against it. It directly affects the gameplay. Like, and I understand that some people are going to be less perceptive to that kind of thing, and I think here's my concern is if companies start trying to push further than 4K, like 120. Like, if they really start trying to push, like, oh, we have an 8K screen, our console supports 8K now. Like, people already can't tell the difference between the fucking PS4 or PS5 and the PS5 Pro. That's never, like, we're not, you can't, like, we've hit,
Yeah.
we have hit the limit.
We've
4K,
hit the ceiling.
Yeah, 4K 120 FPS is pretty much the limit on what the human eye and brain, the difference the human eye and brain can perceive.
I'm going to be perfectly honest, you might have a point on frame rate. I can't perceive the difference between 1080p and 4K.
Resolution, it depends on the size of the display. The larger the display, the more obvious resolution
It also just
differences
depends
are.
on the TV you have, because some TVs just say that you can do 4K, but they can't really do 4K well, or they just don't do 4K, so having something with 4K doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah. It's a weird market out there right now.
Why do you need 4K pixels? You just need 2. KK.
I think the only reason like I got like so vehement about that was just because like of that weird trend where that luckily I'm glad has died out a bit, but where like certain like people would take like the mindset of having more frames, which is good in a video game, and try to apply that by basically making pre-existing animations run at those frame rates, and it just looks like you smeared.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what?
disgusting.
I will say.
I'm saying I think that's where my adversity came from, because that's when like I know like frame rates were an important thing, but I never like really cared too much, and then that was like when it was like a true thing on a thing that I liked. So I think it was just like when like it was put in front of my face. So I think I just got like, look, I'm just like, whatever, as long as it runs consistently at whatever it's running at, and it doesn't look like a slideshow, then I'm fine with it.
You know what? I will say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think 60 FPS is a minimum with first-party games at this point.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Because again,
I would say.
Like, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I would say frame rate. I don't think a 30 FPS game is inherently worse than a 60 FPS game. But what I will say is that if a game was made for 60 FPS, making a port that runs at 30 FPS can be a detriment.
It's noticeable.
Yeah, that's where you start to run
It's
into
noticeable.
problems.
The Paper Mario 2 remake, I love it. It is my child. My baby girl Vivian is in it. But, like, at the same time, like, I had very recently on legal Nintendo GameCube hardware been playing through the Thousand Year Door, like, a year prior, and, like, developed some good muscle memory. And when I went to play it on the Switch, that muscle memory betrayed me.
Well, to be fair, Han, that's not explicitly because of the frame rate. They also did change the attack timings in the remake. So, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
I feel like a really good point to bring up is two Switch ports, two separate Switch ports. Those being the Persona 5 port and the Nier Automata port. Both were decently well regarded ports, but the P5 port in particular has a lot of problems with it.
Yeah,
especially
I
with
agree.
load times and some of the FPS in some of the more populated zones of the game. Compare that to the Nier Automata port, which is one of the best ports in Nintendo history. That game on Switch runs spectacularly.
So you're saying spec size doesn't matter, it's what you use with it?
I'm saying specs. I'm saying though that's part of it, but it really goes to show that, like, especially for older games and for NS2 upgrades, there's no excuse for 30 FPS, especially with the hardware we have, like Metroid Prime 4 capable of 120 FPS in handheld mode.
Yeah,
that is not an excuse anymore.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, whether or not you care about resolution and frame rate, if you can make the frame rate higher or the resolution higher, you should make the resolution or the frame rate higher. If you can get it to run consistently.
Yeah. I think it's also just, like, a thing going back to, like, Switch 1 ports. As someone who's, like, a Hat Time fan.
Oh, that port.
I got that again. Because at the time it had the DLC before it did on the other console I had it on. And yeah, that was rough. And the thing is,
Olive tried to show me it once, and that port completely turned me off the game. And like, I had a similar experience with Penny's Big Breakaway. Like, great game. I loved it from a gameplay standpoint. You cannot play that game at 30 FPS. It is unplayable at 30 FPS.
I wouldn't even say the frame rate was the biggest problem. I think it's just like the frame rate is one of the problems, but overall, like, the point I'm making is, like, with some of the Switch ports, it was very much like those who were able to work within the Switch's limitations and make it consistent, those were typically the better ports. Like, even if they had lower resolution or lower frame rates than their other console counterparts, it's all about, like, making sure that everything was able to run consistently. Hat and Time port, that was not the case at all. There would be times where it would just randomly lag, and it was just so awful at some points. I think it started to get a little bit better after some updates, but like, when I first played it, it was bad. It was bad. But like, if like with the whole thing with the 120 FPS thing with Metroid Prime 4, then like I'm gonna be I'm very much gonna wait and see, but I'm very much confident that like any like being like, oh no, it's gonna be 30 FPS or oh it's gonna be this resolution is probably gonna be kind of in the past, especially for first party games.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's able to run a certain game at 120 in handheld, then it'll probably be able to do a lot of things at 60 very consistently.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I wonder, a thing I wonder about with the console, like, I wonder if you'll be able to set, like, different graphics preferences for, like, portable mode versus, like, docked mode. Because, like, with Prime 4, like, I don't have, aside from my computer monitor, I don't have a 120 FPS monitor I can regularly use, but the Switch's screen itself is 120 FPS. So I wonder if I'll be able to, like, set it so if I want to play, if I'm in console, if I'm in, like, docked mode, if it'll automatically switch to like that 4K 60. But if I'm in handheld, I wonder if I can make it so it automatically switches to 1080p 120 in portable mode.
I hope that is the case.
That would be, because I think that's similar. Fire Emblem Warriors, that game on Switch is one of the only Switch games that had a graphics performance mode. But when you took it, but that only applied to when it was docked. Like, if you took it out of the dock, it was always going to be 720/30.
No, yeah. I also
all that for a B tier game.
Yeah.
I also just want to say, I think one thing that's really nice is just like having like 8 times the storage space.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, that's just so nice.
256 gigs is more than enough for, knowing how good Nintendo is at compressing their games, that's more than enough for like 90% of Nintendo games.
yeah, like that's great. And if you're ever at the point where you would need more storage, like you would basically with an SD card, you would be able to double it because it basically has the same amount of storage as most like SD cards.
Yeah. Should clarify though, you cannot use the original micro SD cards that work with the original Switch. It has to be explicitly a micro SD Express, which makes sense to accommodate that faster load.
256 gigabytes. I can finally hold 1.5 copies of Final Fantasy XIV on my Switch.
There you go. But yeah,
I am very excited for the Switch too.
Me too.
Price point aside, it's exciting.
Yeah, the price the price of
excited.
games is honestly like my only concern with this.
Yeah.
The Direct sold me. I mean, I was already sold before the Direct because new Nintendo console. I'm a fucking degenerate. But like that Direct, like it didn't show everything I wanted it to, but it showed me just enough to know I have like that, like I'm like solidly confident in this system's ability to succeed.
Yep.
I'm just excited because I get to play the new Raido Kuzunoha game.
Yeah.
I used to play Devil Summoner so bad, baby.
But yeah, if and like
Yeah, it's a really interesting spin-off of the Persona series.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
And like, but yeah, like as of the recording of this, pre-orders haven't happened yet in the US. They start on the 9th, which I believe is next Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's perfect because I was just gonna like have to like double check and think about some things before I commit to the pre-order, but I'm probably gonna do it.
Yeah.
And
Also,
if I do,
Rollins, have you signed up for pre-orders on Nintendo's website?
I have not.
Do you have
And
the
I'm-
NSO expansion pack?
The what?
The Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack.
No, I just have regular online.
Okay, because there's actually
I-
Nintendo's on Nintendo's website they're doing a priority queue, and there's like 3 requirements for it. I'm signed up for it. I signed up for it like instantly. So it's basically this is their way of combating scalpers, and I think it's a really smart way. Number 1, NSO expansion pack members get priority. Number 2, and then the other 2 are connected. You have to have you have to have gameplay data sharing with Nintendo enabled so that they can track your playtime, because you have to have played at least 50 hours on your Switch in the last year in order to get the priority queue. And I think that's a really smart way to combat scalpers. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna to those people who signed up and meet all the requirements, they're gonna hold aside Switch 2 units, and for those people, for the amount of people that they let sign up, and they will send out emails in waves throughout the day.
Okay, but
I miss midnight releases.
Me too.
Will they just have like would the queue just open up to people who don't meet those requirements?
I think
later
if you sign up with your email, I think they will probably still send you an email, but I think it's less. You don't get priority since you don't have expansion pack.
Okay, well, I'm probably not going to get expansion pack because I don't really use any of the features they give me.
Fair.
and plus, like, at the time when that became, like, a thing, the only game that I had that it would affect, I already paid for that DLC. And that was Octo Expansion.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I just do that again, but monthly? But,
all right. Well,
if I wasn't gonna use the rest, but yeah.
Yeah. So we've been going for about an hour now. I think it's time to start wrapping things up. Do we have any final comments?
One more final comment. This doesn't affect anyone else in the chat, but Hopo Games or whatever game company owns Risk of Rain 2, please let the music glitch on the Switch version of the game be fixed by the time Switch 2 comes out, please, because the music of Risk of Rain's so good, but Risk of Rain 2 on the Switch just has this glitch where sometimes it'll just cut out. All the other sounds are there, but the music just doesn't exist. And they have not fixed it. It has been months. Please, for the love of God, fix it. Okay, that was me screaming into the void.
All right. Any other final comments?
Yeah, you should play Xenogears. You should play Xenosaga. You should play
I
the
will.
Xenoblade games.
I will.
No, I'm talking to your
here's my
chat.
final
I'm
comment.
talking to your chat. I'm saying.
Here's my final comment. We are all lost. Goodbye.
I will spread the good word of Tetsuya Takahashi until the day that I die. Until the day that I fucking die. All right? Play the Xeno games.
Oh yeah, okay. Last comment. Who are your Mario Kart mains? Who are your Mario Kart mains you're gonna use in World?
Dry Bones, Paulina, Yoshi, and Penguin.
Those little shits from 3D Land.
Which little shits? There's a lot of little shits.
The round ones.
Explain.
No.
Okay.
Hockey puck bug.
I guess.
Fishbone.
For me, it's either gotta be Daisy or Moo Moo Meadows cow.
If they don't put Funky Kong in the game.
They put the
Daisy,
fucking cow from Moo Moo
Rosalina, or
Meadows. They're gonna put
Pauline.
Funky in. They're gonna put Funky in.
If they don't put Funky Kong in.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna finish that.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. Thank you all for tuning in, to the people who have been tuning in. This type of content, this type of unscripted content will not be a regular thing on my channel. It's just kind of to fill the gaps when I'm wanting to be uploading, but can't edit anything super detailed because I am finishing university. But I'll be done in June and I'll have graduated with a useless degree, so...
Hey, it's
Well,
not
let's see.
useless.
In Colorado it is.
It goes on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You know,
Eh.
Maddie, I'm an English major, so like.
All right. Oh, I'm gonna end the stream here. So, they are not streaming.
Bye.
The recording. Bye, y'all.
We're all
Bye bye.
lost.
Like, comment,
Bye.
subscribe, all that shit. Bye now.